Okay, team, so it is way past that time of the year, but I did get around to getting my 6th year of cherry blossom photos. It's just taken me a while to get around to editing the footage because life's been really busy recently, but we are here now and I'm so excited. So without further ado, let's go, Rachel. So the first location I wanted to share with you is actually the last one I ended up going to in April, and at this point the season was practically over. This meant that I wanted to research which blossoms were actually still blooming, and I'll link the extremely useful website that I used in the description below. My roomies and I did end up taking an Evo there, but I think if you're near 41 or 49, it might not be too bad to transit to. And it wasn't crowded at all, but I think this is due to the fact that we went after peak season. Going after peak season also meant that the trees were sparse, but if you go more toward the end of March and beginning of April, I think they'd be a lot nicer, and this location would be more of a hidden gem. Overall, the photos still turned out nicely, and it was a 5 out of 5 experience, but I would give the location a 2 out of 5 as a whole.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Carissimo.
So the cherry blossoms today were not peak, but we got some good shots.
It's the people, not the blossoms.
Okay, so we sprinted out of the door to try to make it for the bus, and I saw it just go by me, so we're gonna have to wait for the next one.
This year, Brendan and I actually hit up 3 places in one day for maximum efficiency, so let's just dive right in. This first location isn't too hard to get to because it's in Carrisdale near East Boulevard and West 43rd. You can hop on the 16 or 41 depending on where you're coming from, and it's easy to walk to with lots of good food around. For crowdedness, I'll say everything this day was generally not crowded, but that's because it was raining on and off throughout the day, so it probably deterred people from going outside. Overall, the trees were really full and really pink, but the density wasn't very high since it was just one small section on one side of the road. Overall, I would give this location a 3 out of 5.
Part 1 done.
This year I actually branched out and hit up some locations outside of Vancouver, including places in Richmond and Burnaby. So in terms of accessibility, I do want to put the disclaimer out here and say the ease of getting to these locations may vary depending on where you live in the greater Vancouver area. And you can check out my first cherry blossom video if you want more Vancouver specific locations. Our second stop during this day was Garry Point Park in Richmond, and it was definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite location this year.
We are at location number 2, and it's insane!
Having a car definitely makes this location easier to get to, and although I wouldn't recommend taking pictures in the rain, it is one way to make sure that you have less people in the background of your shots.
It's pouring.
Generally, I think this park is pretty busy because of how beautiful the trees are, but since the park is quite big, there are also lots of sections for you to check out and explore. And in terms of the sheer quantity of trees, I was totally blown away and would highly recommend going here if you were to just pick one location out of this video. Overall, I would give Garry Point Park a 5 out of 5. The third location Brendan and I hit up was Sweet Ave at Aberdeen Neighbourhood Park. We did try to race the sun and obviously failed, but it did end up giving us a really cool night shoot opportunity, and in the future I would definitely go back during the day. This location is really easy to get to by SkyTrain if you get off at Aberdeen Square using the Canada line, and of course perks of taking pics at night means that almost no one is going to be in your shot. I have previously been to the park during the day and it can get pretty busy though. I would say that these trees were perfect because they lined the sidewalk, and this meant that I didn't have to stand in the middle of a street. These trees are also only going to get bigger and more full as time goes on. Overall, I would give this location a 4 out of 5. Okay, so the last location I'll share in this video is called Cherry Blossom Garden, and it is extremely beautiful. The location is in Burnaby, and it's super easy to get to if you hop on the Millennium line, as it's right near Brentwood station. And this park would have easily been my favorite location I visited this year if not for how crowded it was. Given how accessible and visible the park is, this means that many people will pass by accidentally and stumble across it and will want to stop by and admire it. And of course this is great for everyone to enjoy the park, but it is hard to get any photos without people in the background. Aside from how accessible it is, this park is popular for a reason, and this is because the cherry blossoms literally took my breath away. The petals danced down like we were in a K-drama, and it was extremely magical.
It's snowing!
like a snow globe in here.
Overall, I'd give Cherry Blossom Garden a 4 out of 5.
She's cosplaying as me and also Maria at the same time.
New identity. We just don't want to be in her photo.
We're trying to be considerate.
Pretty.
Yeah, her fit is too nice for us to ruin it in the background.
Afterward, Callista, Rachel, and I did try to head up Oxford and Willingdon, but it was really disappointing and we didn't even take any photos. I thought about just keeping this part out of the video, but I wanted to flag it as a location that's not really accessible nor worthwhile to visit. Instead, Rachel and Callista and I just hit up Brentwood and then Key Cafe, and it was a great way to end the day. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this year's Cherry Blossom Adventures. As always, it was really fun to just explore new spaces, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I've added all these locations to my Cherry Blossom map that I started last year, and I've linked it below in the description. This is my week in 7 seconds, and Rachel will see you in the next video.